Support for 100 Watts in a Wire is provided by Bioenno Power. If you're looking for a power solution, check out Bioenno Power, offering the best performance lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNOPOWER.com or contact dealers nationwide.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
All right, brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's Christian. If you're new, please put new down in the chat. I'd like to meet you. And if we haven't met, my name is Christian. Call sign Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about whatever comes out of our mouth. And that's what's going to happen. There he is. AE5DW, Don Wilbanks, chilling. I played some blues music just for you this morning. Cheers, brother, and welcome to the show again.
Nice to be here. It's nice to be anywhere, as a matter of fact. Good morning, everybody. We're gonna have some fun today, I think. It's been a while since we've done this. Well, last week, but you know.
That's funny, but I guess people just don't know. You know, I get a message last night. Don's like, "You near radio?" I'm like, well, it was kind of like, could be, sure. First, Jeff is tuning in here from Japan. He is nude, apparently. I mean, this is the way we got to start things off. It will be tricky going from our segment to the news, where you have to be serious, but we'll make it work.
By the way, welcome to the back porch here in lovely Picayune, America.
I love it. Is that a flip-flop hanging back there on the wall? I'm trying to get your
yeah, kind of. It's just a wall decoration, primarily. I don't know what it says. 5 o'clock. So the one over here says it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I don't know what I can't read. Not pictures on it.
Yeah, we agreed that Don and I were just going to keep this loose. We'll do 20 minutes because he gets 6 G's for 20 minutes. 6 G's. And
any other letter I can squeeze out of you as well.
He gets 6 A's. Yeah. But, you know, when Don get together, the thing is, I think Don's been around and is known throughout the ham radio community through Amateur Radio Newsline, which was then put on Ham Nation. And Ham Nation is the biggest kid on the block, I would say, in terms of longest standing and all this sort of stuff. So everybody knows Don from that.
We're really fortunate to have gone 10 years. I mean, you know, that's a good stretch, no matter how you measure it. 10 years doing that. So
I met you through Ham Nation. Mm-hmm. Mr. Heil brought me on to do some sort of new ham type of segments. Did some segments there. Yeah. Transitioned to 100 Watts in a Wire, and you were always really supportive of that community, my work. So I have to say thank you for that. That I don't believe in wait until a man passes 100 years from now to say, man, he was really good to me. But in the beginning, you were always consistent and you stayed supportive of the effort. And I don't know, we share a common thing. Maybe that's what it is. We're silly as hell, for one. Two, broadcast guys. So
yeah.
We love music, blues
music particularly, yeah, exactly. And you know, just from one broadcaster to another, I mean, you know, when I saw you come on, I'm like, okay, we're dealing with a pro here. And so it was initially the professional respect, and then getting to know you and knowing what all we have in common, it's the friendship as well. And there may have been alcohol involved.
Yeah, there's a weird time where Don invited me to stay in Dayton in his room. And I don't remember if I went. I don't know how I got home. If I went home.
We've never met face to face. We've never been in a room together.
You know why? Go ahead and say it. I just set you up. This is good. Knock me down. Just go ahead. It's too easy. This is too easy. This is actually our morning show audition. Don and I have really decided to get back into radio. And this will be our
softballs.
Well, maybe I should say volleyballs. I don't know. The size of melons. Anyway, so this is our audition tape. We'll be creating a new morning show for you. Coming to Saginaw, is it? I don't know. We'll do it. It's remote. We don't have to worry. We'll just...
What's the old saying? If it plays in Peoria?
Oh dear, we've got to chime in here. Yes, Paul. You know you're setting yourself up. You're derailing our train here. Look at this guy.
I have shared a room with Don at a ham shack at a ham fest, and still scarred.
Yeah, you taught me last week to keep him muted. I don't know why. I think it's statute of limitations. You're fine. You're fine as far as I'm concerned. But hey,
yeah, that was a good time up in that was at Peoria, as a matter of fact.
If you guys have a question for Don that you want to ask, put a Q. Do me a favor, put a Q in front of your question in the chat, and hopefully our moderators or Sidecar Steve will pick it up and bring it in, and we can kind of roll like that. We're keeping it loose, so to speak, here. And you know why we haven't met in person is because you and I were both on this rotating year at Dayton. You know, you went every other year, and I went every even year or whatever it was for a while.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, man, you're going to go. Then I think we were both going to connect. And then your son was graduating. And it was a year you weren't going to go. So, it was just one of
something
those
like
sort of
that.
things.
Yeah, it's and then, job change and everything else. And then COVID hits. But, Huntsville's coming up in 3 months.
I know. And you say that's the best one. I mean, or your favorite
is.
one. It is the best one.
Really is, yeah. Yeah, I love it.
I want to tell a little story. Go ahead.
It's primarily it's the Young Ham of the Year thing. That's what got me to Huntsville, and I kept going, and I've only missed 2 since 1995, and that was only because one year we actually did not award a Young Ham of the Year because we didn't have anybody who stood up head and shoulders above any others, and we didn't want to just put 4 or 5 applications up on the wall, close our eyes, spin around 3 times, and throw a dart. And the other time was last year when COVID took it away. So it's the only 2 that I've missed. I love it. I absolutely love Huntsville.
Well, and you have a fondness. I got to be careful how I say this because our friends are all jokers. But you're inspired by youth in terms of the future of this service and hobby. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've gotten to know pretty much all of the young hams from like 94 or 95 on, and have become very good friends with several to this day. Chris Bro, who won not last year but the year. Well, no, he did win last year because I awarded that at Neil Rapp's wedding up there. So yeah, Chris and I are real tight, as well as his family. And there are others that I keep in touch with, and parents of others that I keep in touch with. And yeah, it's like that was Bill Pasternak's whole thing. WA6ITF, the late great, who actually started Newsline. And actually Newsline morphed from something that was called the Westlink Report out in Southern California in the 80s or 70s, actually. 1973, I think, was the first year for Westlink. And then it became Amateur Radio Newsline. But that was... youth was Bill's passion, and so he had the idea, let's honor youth in amateur radio, and what we'll do is we'll start an award. We'll call it the Young Ham of the Year Award, and for a youngster under the age of 18, we'll find the best of the best and highlight what they've done using amateur radio for either the community or the world or whatever, MCOM, public service, doesn't matter, or even just to advance the state of the art of amateur radio. Just whatever stands out, we're going to honor that as the best of the best for this year. And it seems like every year the bar is higher and higher and higher. And these kids are just more and more impressive every year. And I've been fortunate to present the award a few years prior to Bill's passing, when he was ill and couldn't make it from Southern California to Northern Alabama. And now it's kind of fallen on me to present that award every year. And it's the highlight of what I do with amateur radio, just the absolute highlight. And I say it every year on stage. All of the bad kids get all of the press. And really, the bad kids are the minority. There are way more good kids in the world than there are bad kids. It's basically the one bad apple doesn't spoil the whole basket. And I always say that you're looking at an example of the kind of people that are going to run the world when we're gone. And the world is going to be in really, really good hands. You don't have to worry about it. Just ignore the bad stuff, concentrate on the good stuff, and these are the ones who are going to be following in our footsteps.
And maybe they'll help us not ruin this world, as we're the ones who are kind of leading it at the moment. Hopefully they'll keep us in check and be the ones we can check in and go, what do you think? Okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Hey, what's the website so people can nominate? I know that all of you must know someone. You're mentoring someone, or Elmering, as we would say. How do they go and say, I got a kid, I know a kid here who should be considered?
Yeah, it's real simple. arnewsline.org. Just remember, amateur radio, arnewsline.org. And that is the website. And then at the button bar up at the top, right in the middle, you'll see a word. That word is awards. If you click on that, it'll bring down a menu. And the very top one is 2021 YHOTY, or Young Ham of the Year. I'm not looking at the website right now, but that is where you will find the nominating form. It is in a Word document form. You download that, fill it in, email it back to us as a Word file or as a PDF, your choice. And if you need, there's all kinds of space on there. You can, we have gotten some packages that are 30 and 40 pages long. So doesn't matter. If you can send it by email and it'll fit in an email, then that's how we want to get it. And the email address is right there on the form. It's at the bottom. It's newsline at arnewsline.org. And the deadline is Monday, May 31st at midnight Eastern time. We opened nominations 3 months ago. We always open those in March. They run April 1st. No, March 1st. They run March, April, and May. And there it is. There's the website, Young Ham of the Year for 2021. Download form here, and that's what you click, and it brings up the nominating form. Download that, fill it in, email it back to us, and the judging will commence beginning on June 1st after we get all of the nominations in and they get distributed to the judging panel.
Get busy, guys. It's time. You want to make
time's running out.
You want to get something in there. Pardon me there.
And it seems like everyone waits until the last minute. We'll get a flurry in the last couple of days, and sometimes it's worrying. It's like we'll go 2 months and 3 weeks with nothing, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 boom. They're all popping in. I guess it's just human nature to wait until the last minute. But get it in as soon as you can, because you don't. If it gets here after midnight on May 31st, that is the deadline. You've had 3 months to do it. There's no excuse. So get it in the email.
Yeah, and things are getting better in the world. Everybody's getting out. So what I think the team at Amateur Radio Newsline, the people who will select this Young Ham of the Year, they want to give proper consideration to each candidate. So that takes time. So go ahead and get them in now.
And actually, I want to clarify that none of us in Amateur Radio Newsline are on the judging committee. They are, I can tell you who one of them is, and that is one that is always up on stage with me, is Rich Moseson, W2VU from CQ Magazine. He's one of our judges, and there are 4 others, I believe 5 in total, that kind of remain anonymous. I know who they are, but we try to keep that anonymous. And all I do is when the nominations come in, I will look at them just to see if it's anyone I know. And then those get put into a Dropbox folder. And on June 1st, the chairman, the YHOTY chairman, takes those and distributes them to the judges. And when they make their decision, out comes the press release. And that's when I find out who the winner is. So we have absolutely no input. We have no knowledge of what the judges are talking about, period. We give them the nominations. They make their decision, and then they tell us what they decide, and that's exactly how we want to do it. So we cannot be bribed. We are above reproach, and that's exactly how we want to keep it.
And the other side is that the people that work for Amateur Radio Newsline want to celebrate every kid, and so somebody's got to pick. Absolutely. We all want them all to win.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I wish we could give away 17 of these things a year, but it's we do one. So.
Hey, I want to tell a quick story. Oh, were you finished? I'm sorry. I didn't want to step on.
Go ahead.
Don and we mentioned sharing blues music, and we have a couple segments that'll happen in between. So if you're available, you can come back and maybe we can talk a little deeper, because we've talked about cars. This is what happens when Don and I get on the air, which happened just last night in pretty rough conditions. It was search and rescue. We were looking for a spot.
Yeah, we tried.
You're 5'9" here, by the way. Great signal coming in. Last night, a little rough. But when we get together, we talk about all sorts of stuff, cars and music. And the day that the King died, B.B. King, the day of all people, and I've got a story about this, but I'll tell you the abbreviated story about when the King died, or the Kang, as we would say, who love blues music. He died, I was in Dayton. He must have died in May, around May 14th through the 16th of whatever year this was. I'm thinking it's 17 or, we'll have to look at it. I don't want to diminish this story.
Away, yeah.
But I'm in the lobby of the hotel, and on the screen, all these hams are eating their continental breakfast, and B.B. King has announced that. And we had known that he'd been sick. I had seen him just a few months before here in St. Louis. And the first person I think to contact is Don. Like, it was a morning thing, man. It was like someone had just taken and knocked you down with the biggest wave. And we kind of saw it coming, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you my connection to B.B. King. When I was young, my dad was a builder. He was a contractor, and he would go in and buy estates sometimes. There was a family. The last name was Shadwell, and unfortunately, the entire family passed away in a car accident. Like 3 kids and the parents, and the kids were, some were young, but there were a couple of the kids who were adult. One was in the Navy, as a matter of fact. And so Dad ended up purchasing that entire estate, and they had quite the record collection. And this, I would have been, I don't know, 10 or 11. So we're talking 70, 71, right around there. And one of them was a B.B. King album, and I can't remember which album it was, but I was going through the albums, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. B.B. King. What's this? And the light bulb went on. So I've been a blues fan, forever. And then when my mother passed away in 1995, for about 3 years, I listened to nothing but blues music after she passed away. And that is literally what kept me from going completely off the rails. So my 50th birthday, my wife and I first off, on my 49th birthday, B.B. King was playing in Biloxi, and so I got to see B.B. King, and got to see who's his protege with the polka dot guitar from Mississippi. You know who I'm talking about. Damn right, I Got the Blues. Who is that?
Oh, from Chicago.
Well, yeah, Chicago blues, but he was actually born in Louisiana.
Bring it up. Let's go. Paul, it's on the tip of my tongue. Paul, who is it?
Yeah,
Buddy Guy.
I can't.
Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
I got to see Buddy Guy live. I got to see B.B. King live around my 49th birthday, and went to a blues festival. Anyway, so just the absolute best. And then my 50th birthday comes around, and Dawn is like, "Well, what do you want to do for your 50th birthday?" And I said, "Well, first off, B.B. King is going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi at the casino September 25th, which is my birthday. So I want to see B.B. King. So we got tickets." She's like, "Okay, well, you got vacation, and so do I. What do you want to do?" I said, "Let's go to Memphis." So we did. We did the whole Memphis thing. I went to B.B. King's place on Beale Street, went to the Gibson Guitar Factory. We basically did everything but Graceland, because we'd done Graceland several times before. But anyway, on the way back, we stopped in Clarksdale, Mississippi, at Ground Zero Blues Club, where that's the place that Morgan Freeman owns. It's an old cotton market, like 150 years old, and they've changed that, put that into a it's a bar and performance venue, and upstairs where the offices were, they've turned into luxury apartments that you can rent. So a friend of mine and his wife joined us, and we were there on Thursday night, and it happened to be open mic night. And so I got to go on stage with this old blues master and one of his proteges, and Mark played drums, and I sang dubious backing vocals, and it was just the best time. Spent the night, and then on the way back to South Mississippi, we stopped off at the B.B. King Museum, and I got to tour that. And then that night, the night of my birthday, we saw B.B. King live in Biloxi. I was taking pictures off to the side as he was walking off, and he shook my wife's hand. And, you know, he gives out the necklaces, you know, off stage, and she almost got one of those. But that was the last time we saw him. And so I've just been a huge admirer of B.B. King. And then when he died, that is still the only musician that I have shed tears over, and probably will be the only musician or performer that I have shed tears over.
That's because he got you early. He got in your system early.
He got me here.
He was in there.
Right freaking here.
He died on May 14th, 2015. Yeah. May 14th, and I was in Dayton back then. First person I texted, because it made me sick inside. And I didn't know anybody around. It was that sick, like, loss. You feel it. I mean, if you listen to Live at the Regal, which is a short record, you listen to it on vinyl, it'll change your life. It'll change your life. Don, will you come back later? You got things to do, I know, but you're welcome. Yeah. We're going to go and do 2 stories with our friends from Amateur Radio Newsline. Yeah. We'll talk a little preparedness stuff. There's so many things, and questions are coming in, and hopefully we're grabbing some of those. We can get Sidecar Steve to give us some of those questions. Go ahead. Let me point you to another live performance of B.B. King that he actually says is his best, and that was the one at, I believe it's one of the prison record, Folsom, I think, or maybe. I think that may be the one. But just Google B.B. King's favorite live performance of his, and you'll find it. I believe it's when he was at Folsom Prison, I think. Okay. One of those big jails back in the 60s, yeah. All right. My thanks to Don. He's going to hang out here. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and talk 2 stories with our friends from Amateur Radio Newsline next.
The Kilo station again? Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. You're 5'9". Right.
Brothers and sisters, I believe I have found a new way for you to support the content you enjoy and the community that you find value in. It's called buymeacoffee.com. It is not a commercial. It's a new way, and I've moved away from Patreon, which is going to hurt me for a little bit. But in the long run, I believe that content creators should have creative freedom. There shouldn't be any censorship coming down from a platform in the way that you create. But moreover, on your side, do you really need to have a sign-up? Do you really need to have an account? And do they really need to take between 5 and 12% of your donations? No, I'm out. But I've moved over to buymeacoffee.com. It's as easy as that. No sign-ups, no accounts. Give if you want. If you don't want to, give as much as you want. Become a sustaining member. It's all there, but it's new. So I'm here to tell you about that. Buymeacoffee.com/K0STH is where you find us. And it's an easier way, a cleaner way, it seems, to support the content you enjoy. Now let's get you back up to the show. Portion of our program where we bring our friends in from Amateur Radio Newsline. We've got the big guns today, and I'm happy to have them here because why mess around with the smaller guns? Now there you'll see Karen. She's over there. Karen is the editor of Amateur Radio Newsline, and one of the voices, one of the anchors in the chair, that 20-year-old chair that we hear about every week, Paul. Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? We had Don on. We were talking about great things, the Young Ham of the Year. Would you like to give comments, madam, on the Young Ham of the Year?
I sure would. I sure would. While we're in good news mode, I want to say that last year's winner of the Young Ham of the Year award has just been awarded a scholarship to college. He's going to be studying aeronautics at St. Louis University. Chris, KD8YVJ. Congratulations, Chris. The scholarship will go toward his studies at St. Louis University. So young hams of the year go on to do great things.
So Chris is going to come to St. Louis? Oh, my.
Well, he's going to St. Louis University. He's taking over the town.
I'm going to...
Watch out.
That's going to be fun.
Watch out.
I've known Chris for a number of years. I interviewed him first back when he won the Hiram Percy Maxim Award from the league. And I was impressed back then, and since then I've become friends with him and his father, Jocelyn, and the whole Bro family are just wonderful people. So, I mean, he's a very deserving and smart kid.
All right, well, we got...
he is. Go ahead. I should add, Jocelyn texted me just the other day, Chris is about to get his private pilot's license. So go, Chris. Go, Chris.
That's amazing, but can you imagine the concern of the parents as your child is now taking I'm just going to take the plane.
Yes.
I'm going to go out here.
Yeah.
Chris mentioned, Jocelyn mentioned that. He said, one more thing to worry about. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Not, he'll never sleep again.
Paul, why is the Young Ham of the Year award important?
It truly is. I mean, if we mention it, everybody talks about it all the time, but you've got to keep the young people interested enough in this hobby to get into it and keep it going, or, eventually we're all old guys, we're all going to die off, and that ends the hobby. So, it's important to keep them excited about it and reward them and get them really involved, because just getting a license and then never using it doesn't count. They need to be involved and advance the hobby and advance our public image. And these young people that are doing these sort of things in the community are really what needs to be done to keep ham radio alive. So,
very good. Yeah. We're going to... go on.
I'm sorry. Real quick, calling back to Don, on a serious thing, I definitely want to second, if you ever get near Clarksville, Ground Zero Blues is a really funky, cool old place. I was there a number of years ago. A friend of mine who used to work for Stax threw a birthday party for Mac Rice, the guy who wrote Mustang Sally and Respect Yourself. And he asked me to come down and hang out and photograph the thing. And I walked in and it's like, man, this is a place to see the blues. So, yep.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the Young Ham of the Year. We want to get those submissions in now. Get them in today while you're thinking about it. It's raining in a lot of places. Go ahead and fill it out, because the people need to spend enough time with those submissions to give proper consideration to those. Now it's time for us to dig into our two stories. You may know about this. One story is probably top of the pops, top of the chart, where you need to know about this, and the other one may be a bit obscure. This time around, we're starting with Paul. Paul's got a story. What's going on, Paul?
Well, it's an interesting story, and it really ties in a big part of what we do. It unfortunately doesn't have a happy ending, but when I saw this come up in the script, it really struck me, because this is a thing that happened essentially in my backyard. In the town like 20 minutes from where I am. On Sunday the 16th or Sunday the 17th, our local Aries chapter was called out to help with local emergency and police and the firefighters to search for a 12-year-old autistic boy who had been with his family at a hotel in Hammond, Indiana, and had walked away from the hotel, and they couldn't find him. He left Saturday morning. He walked out, and by Saturday night, the email went out to all of us involved in Skywarn and Aries that this was not a drill. This is an actual thing, And unfortunately, I had already had a commitment over in Illinois, so I couldn't join in. But I was listening because they used our local repeater because it's got a reach all the way from southern Michigan into into northern Illinois, the southern suburbs of Chicago. And so I was listening to them coordinate and discuss as it was going on. And it was really the first time I've heard an actual MCOM thing happening that wasn't a drill. And, they were all calling in and checking in with the net control and talking about where they were and coordinating with the police and what they're seeing, where they are. And unfortunately, Aries got stepped down a little bit later because they hadn't come up with anything, and then ultimately the boy was found drowned in a local river a few days later, and it was a really sad ending. But it was really fascinating to hear all the local hams get out and participate in this and coordinate with the authorities to try to find this boy.
Well, I wonder, like here, we have, it's kind of split up here. We talk about jurisdictions a lot with Hour 73 and what, takes precedent is what's happening in the jurisdiction and those sorts of things. We actually have a search and rescue team in a different county. Is that part of the Aries program there? Do you know, Paul, or is Aries maybe it doesn't exist everywhere? A specific search and rescue team.
Yeah, and our Aries group is kind of new. We didn't really have anything organized or coordinated. We recently had a ham from the East Coast, from one land, moved out here, and that was his focus. That's like his primary reason for existence in ham radio. And he reached out to me because I was president of the local club, and I talked to him about the local repeaters. Several of them are owned by the club. There's a couple more owned by another ham in the area, and that's the one that's got the biggest footprint. So he's really kind of putting things together for us. So, this is kind of new for our area. We haven't really had organized Aries for a long time.
Good. Yeah, the search and rescue team here is completely different. It seems like it's just a different group of people who train that way, and hopefully they're never called. Karen, what do you think about this story? Although sad, maybe good that there's some coordination in the search effort.
Yeah, the coordination was amazing. The hams that I was in touch with during the week, because I had been following the story since I had read about the little boy's disappearance, I saw that hams had been activated in one of the local clubs especially. And apparently this club does coordination with canine search and rescue. They provide GPS mapping for them and all kinds of specifics so that they don't lose track of anyone, and they know by creating a map where everybody is, which is amazing. The hams had good backup. Folks came in from nearby state as well, so this did cross state lines, and people were just all over this. I think if by sheer volume of the number of searchers could have saved him, it certainly would have. But as the days went on, it just wasn't looking very good.
Yeah. The initial email we got on Saturday night, and it's important that this is laid out in here too, because it talks very much about what to bring, make sure that all of your equipment, your batteries all charged. And it also is very, very pointed about the fact that this is a very serious thing. So when you get there, act and look like professionals and not just like hobbyists out for a weekend transmitter hunt. It was very clear about not wearing, big fancy shirts with, like your calls and all that. It's not about that. If you've got a hat or something with your call on it, whatever, that's fine. But it's like, you're not here to make a big deal about, hey, look, I'm a ham. It's like, I am a ham. I'm here to help you and do a job. So, it's a totally different vibe, and it really helps ultimately, in the long run, when people say, well, why do we need hams? It's like, well, this is part of what we can offer. And if you do it properly, and if you do it in a professional manner, we all come off better than if we're just a bunch of guys out there stumbling around with radios.
Yeah, you've taken too much time if you've worried about what shirt you've got on. If you're thinking about I need to be seen, you've already wasted too much time.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for that story. A bit of a bummer, but inspired by, and I think you hear about this all the time. This is the time of year where we traditionally, talking to a news editor here too, we happen to see these stories about kids who are going swimming in the rivers. We're near both the Mississippi and the Missouri River here, so we see these right around graduation time, and it's really unfortunate. But you hear a lot about this type of thing now, and not that was his case, but unfortunately it happens a lot. So it's good to be prepared in some way and know that it happens. These kids are mobile and moving around.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got an uplifting story. We're gonna bring this home with something happy here. Come on, girl, give it to me. Let's have something good.
You can't do happy better than this.
Okay,
Cannot
good.
do happy better than this. I bring to you Herschel Woody Williams. He is the last surviving
Look at this.
recipient. Go Herschel. He won a Medal of Honor for his service at Iwo Jima during World War II. He's a good guy, and he's turning 98
Wow.
in October. So some hams in Texas have decided of course, he's getting a birthday party, but we are all invited. Hams are asked to go to the QRZ page of Donna Snow, W5 SML, and send a QSL card, which turn it into a birthday card. And Herschel will be getting Woody will be getting his collection of QSL cards from the amateur radio community around the world at that party. He has done good even after leaving the Marines. He had a foundation created, and he assists Gold Star families. These are families who've lost members in service. He has monuments built, monuments created to their family member who gave their life and sacrificed for the good of the country. This guy in his 98 years has done quite a bit. I think the least folks can do is send him a QSL card, give the man a 5 and 9, and really celebrate with him. So this is happening again. Donna Snow is the amateur radio operator coordinating. If her name is familiar to you, she is a reality TV hostess of Texas Flip and Move, and her call sign W5 Sierra Mike Lima. Visit the webpage, visit the QRZ page, find out how to send Woody your QSL card and your greetings.
Karen, thank you for bringing that. And I'm going to toss it to Paul here in a second, hopefully not in an awkward way about what I'm getting ready to say here. But thank you for bringing that story here. And on Memorial Day weekend, of course, he's still of the living, but it reminds us that this weekend is much more than let's have a beer and a hot dog. It pains me to have to say it, but I know sometimes we tend to kind of glaze over this thing, and it's, I'm off on Monday. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then you've got people out there who represent really what Memorial Day is all about. He's one of our living ones. Paul, talk about why we should pick me up here, because I'm just spinning out. Talk about the importance of Memorial Day and why we think about it.
Well, a lot of people, unfortunately, they also, they're like, Happy Memorial Day. And that's like, well, no, you see, Veterans Day is one thing. That's where you celebrate the men and women who went to war for us and came back home. Memorial Day is when you remember those who went and didn't come back home. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who gave their lives, to keep our country the way it is. And this is the day that we remember their sacrifice and what they gave up. and also remember the families they left behind and their legacy. So it's a thing that needs to be done, that they're not forgotten. And it's just, okay, have a cookout and watch the race and do all that with your family and friends. That's fine. But also remember what Memorial Day is actually about is the key.
I'd like to mention something too, if I can just jump in. I watched last evening a couple of interviews with Woody, one done by the VA. Based on his service, he could very easily have been one of those people that we were honoring on Memorial Day weekend. He was in very grave danger during the battle in 1945. He's here, so he deserves to be celebrated. He's had a good long life. He's done so much good. And if you have a QSL card, and I think just about everybody does, fill it out and celebrate. He really has served not just our nation, but the world.
Well, a toast to all of those who didn't make it back home and all of those who served and gave their life. A toast to Woody for the living in his service here. But here's to you. Salute, everybody. Thank you so much. And wish it was a little stronger. Next show. But thank you. Thank you for that. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming by. Have a great weekend. I hope you have a good time doing stuff and eat a hot dog. Now that we've tipped the hat. Nope, that's right. We don't do that. We don't eat the meat.
Vegetarians.
Veggie dog.
Eat some broccoli.
Eat some broccoli. This public service announcement brought to you by Karen Eve Murray. Thank you guys. 73. We'll catch up with you next week.
73.
Brothers and sisters, let's talk about the 100-watt ID. Very easy to get. None of this costs you a thing. But it is fun to have your own, and here's how you get it. Visit 100wattsandawire.com. Click the Gathering tab. Here you give us your name, your call sign, and your email address. Very simply put, an app will sequentially issue your ID, and a very busy human will send you that ID through the email. Then you can use it during our nets and operating events, share it with your friends, do whatever you like, but that is how you get it. Visit 100wattsandawire.com and click the Gathering page. Now let's get back to the show.